Assalamu alaikum. This is our 32nd lecture of managerial economics, and the topic that we are discussing these days is oligopoly, a game theoretic approach. In our previous lecture, we have considered this game theoretic approach, and we have seen that the theory of games or game theory is essentially a decision making process. It's a theory of decision making, and it has an immense importance in managerial economics. In our previous lecture, we have seen that we have considered the essential elements of game theory, that is the players, strategies, payoffs, and we have also considered payoff metrics. तो इसमें जो इम्पोर्टेंट बात थी, हमने ये देखा था कि जो पहला लेक्चर है उसका हम थोड़ा सा आपको रिव्यू देते हैं ताकि आप उसको रिवाइव करें और फिर उसके बाद हम कंटिन्यू करते हैं. We have basically discussed the most famous game that was the Prisoner's Dilemma game, और इसके बाद initially हमने थोड़ा सा उसको introduce किया था Nash equilibrium को. Now, as far as Prisoner's Dilemma game is concerned, I have already explained that game theorists or economists, they are fascinated by this game because the reason is, the most important reason is that it is a simple representation of कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिचुएशन. बहुत सारी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिचुएशंस हमने आपको बताई थी जो कि इकोनॉमिक्स में हैं, और उन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिचुएशंस को सॉल्व करने के लिए ये गेम जो है ये यूज़ की जाती है. इसकी बहुत ज़्यादा बिजनेस और इकोनॉमिक एप्लीकेशंस हैं. वी हैव कंसिडर्ड सम ऑफ द बिजनेस एंड इकोनॉमिक कॉम्प्लिकेशंस और इकोनॉमिक कॉन्फ्लिक्ट सिचुएशंस लाइक price competition, non-price competition, and we have considered a game where the two players are advertising. Their strategies are to advertise or not to advertise, or their strategy was to charge a low price or to charge a high price. So ये different हमने strategies जो थी वो देखी थी which are open to a firm. Well, basically we have considered a model of duopoly, that is a model where there are only two firms, just for the sake of simplicity. हमने कंसिडर किया था कि एक फर्म ए है मार्केट में और दूसरी फर्म जो है बी है मार्केट में, और ये दोनों जो फर्म्स हैं ये गेम जो है वो प्ले कर रही हैं, एंड दीज आर द टू प्लेयर्स. सो एंड देयर आर डिफरेंट स्ट्रैटेजीज विच आर ओपन टू दीज प्लेयर्स. In case of Prisoner's Dilemma, we have seen that the two prisoners, they have chosen a secure strategy. A secure strategy is a strategy which is the best solution given the worst scenario. Game theory में जो हमारे assumptions हैं, one of the assumption is that you expect worst from the opponent. और यहाँ पे क्योंकि हमने आपको बताया था कि दोनों जो prisoners हैं, they don't have any communication as such, therefore they cannot cooperate. And in order to avoid the worst possible scenario, that is the worst scenario was to get a 10-year jail. तो उससे बचने के लिए, उसको अवॉइड करने के लिए दे अडॉप्ट दिस सिक्योर स्ट्रैटेजी, और एंड दैट सिक्योर स्ट्रैटेजी फॉर बोथ ऑफ देम वाज टू कन्फेस. एंड इन दैट केस वी हैव सीन दैट दे कुड हैव एंडेड बेटर ऑफ हैड दे चोजन द अदर स्ट्रैटेजी दैट इज नॉट टू कन्फेस, क्योंकि उस सूरत में उनको जो जेल है वो उनकी बहुत कम थी, दैट वाज ओनली 1 year जेल. लेकिन क्योंकि उनका कम्युनिकेशन नहीं है, ये दिस वाज एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ नॉन कोऑपरेटिव गेम and non-zero sum game. And we have already seen that zero sum game is a game in which the gain of one firm is completely offset by the loss of the other firm, so that the total is zero. That is why the name zero sum game. Whereas in case of non-zero sum game, the loss of one firm is not completely offset by the gain of the other firm, or the gain of the other firm is not completely offset by the loss of the other firm. So that the result is that if gain is greater than loss, then it is a positive sum game, or if loss is greater than gain, then it is a case of negative sum game. So इसमें zero sum game और non zero sum game, यहाँ जो हम example ले रहे हैं Prisoner's Dilemma में, that is a non zero sum game and it is a case of non cooperative game. So cooperative game जो है उसका जैसे कि नाम से जाहिर है, in that case the firms will cooperate, and that is possible in two ways, that is either they have an explicit agreement or an implicit agreement. Explicit agreement अगर होगा तो जैसे कार्टेल जो है वो फॉर्म किए जाते हैं, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा और जो फर्म के मैनेजर हैं they will meet face to face each other and they will decide about their common strategy. But if there is a tacit agreement, that is a secret agreement and they have an understanding that they will cooperate with each other, although there is no written contract. तो उस सूरत में इन दैट केस वील से दैट दे हैव एन इम्प्लिसिट एग्रीमेंट. सो अगर एक्सप्लिसिट एग्रीमेंट है या इम्प्लिसिट एग्रीमेंट है, दैट इज़ द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव गेम. उस सूरत में दोनों जो फर्म्स हैं वो एक दूसरे के साथ कोऑपरेट कर रही होंगी. लेकिन अगर उनकी कोऑपरेशन नहीं है, इफ़ दे आर प्लेइंग अ नॉन कोऑपरेटिव गेम, तो फिर सिचुएशन जो है वो डिफरेंट हो जाएगी. इसके लिए जब हमने आपको नॉन प्राइस कंपटीशन की बात की थी तो हमने वहाँ पे एडवर्टाइजिंग की एग्जांपल दी थी, एंड वी हैव गिवन 2 एग्जांपल्स ऑफ एडवर्टाइजिंग, दैट इज 1 and 2. In the first example, we have seen that both firms A and B have dominant strategies. But in the second case, we have seen that firm A has no longer a dominant strategy while firm B has still a dominant strategy. तो इसके लिए हम आपको स्क्रीन पर इस पे ऑफ मैट्रिक्स को दोबारा दिखाते हैं. और यहाँ पे हमने देखा था कि हम नैश इक्विलिब्रियम को कंसिडर कर रहे थे, एंड वी हैव सीन दैट आउटकम ऑफ दिस गेम इज एन एग्जांपल ऑफ नैश इक्विलिब्रियम. Nash equilibrium exists when each player is taking the best action given best actions taken by other players. Under the Nash equilibrium, no players want to deviate. No player want to deviate from the existing solution. The reason is that they cannot improve this solution. और इसको हम इस example में देखते हैं. In some games, one or more players may not have a dominant strategy. This is what we are going to see in this example. A game with 2 players will have a Nash equilibrium as long as at least one player has a dominant strategy, whether the other has a dominant strategy or not. In this case, as I said earlier, that neither player can improve their payoff through a unilateral change in strategy. That is why they will not want to deviate from the existing solution. Now, this is the example that we were considering in our previous lecture, and we have seen this was the example of advertising example 2. In this example, we can see that when firm B decides to advertise, the pay of firm A are 4 into, therefore firm A will also advertise. That is, when firm B advertises, firm A should also advertise. But if firm B decides not to advertise, then firm A has, again we can see that firm A जो उसके payoffs हैं वो आप देख सकते हैं 5 और 6 हैं. तो इस केस में firm A को भी एडवर्टाइज नहीं करना चाहिए. दिस मीन्स इन अदर वर्ड्स दैट फर्म ए नो लॉन्गर हैज अ डोमिनेंट स्ट्रैटेजी. In case where both the firms have a dominant strategy, they can choose their optimal strategy regardless of the strategy taken by the other firm. लेकिन इस केस में यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं that firm A cannot choose its optimal strategy independently of firm B. So this is again an example of Nash equilibrium. हमने पहले देखा है कि Nash equilibrium जो केस था when both firms have a dominant strategy and now one of the firm do not have a dominant strategy. This is also a case of Nash equilibrium. As we can see, outcomes जो आप देख सकते हैं 4-3 को हमने सर्कल किया हुआ है क्योंकि फर्म B जो है उसकी डोमिनेंट स्ट्रैटेजी एडवर्टाइज है, क्योंकि उसके पे ऑफ से फर्म A can figure out that firm B's dominant strategy is to advertise, and since firm A has to follow firm B, therefore firm A will also advertise, and the outcomes or the payoffs to both of these firms are 4 and 3. That is प्रॉफिट जो यहाँ पे होगा, अगर हम $4 million कह रहे हैं और तो इसमें $4 million फर्म ए को होगा और $3 million जो है फर्म बी को होगा. तो ये एग्जांपल है जबकि एक फर्म जो है उसके पास उसकी डोमिनेंट स्ट्रैटेजी है, दूसरी फर्म की डोमिनेंट स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं है, और ये हमने आपको एग्जांपल्स जो है नैश इक्विलिब्रियम के लिए बताई. नेक्स्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग अबाउट द थ्योरी ऑफ गेम्स इज दैट देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ गेम्स. जैसे मैंने पहले लेक्चर में भी कहा था कि हम गेम्स को डिफरेंट तरीके से क्लासीफाई कर सकते हैं. पहले हमने क्लासीफाई किया जीरो सम गेम, नॉन जीरो सम गेम, and then we have also considered a cooperative game, non-cooperative game, and now we are going to classify the games in another way, that is repeated games, non-repeated games. और इसी तरह से एक और क्लासिफिकेशन है जिसमें हम सीक्वेंशियल गेम और साइमल्टेनियस गेम्स को कंसिडर कर सकते हैं. साइमल्टेनियस गेम्स जो हैं उसमें जैसे कि अभी तक हमने एग्जाम्पल ली है, उसमें जो फर्म्स हैं दे आर कंसिडर्ड, दे आर सपोज टू टेक an action or a strategy, they have to choose a strategy simultaneously. While a sequential game जो है उसमें क्या है कि एक फर्म एक स्ट्रैटेजी को अडॉप्ट करेगी और दूसरी फर्म जो है उसको काउंटर स्ट्रैटेजी लेगी. तो उस केस में एक फर्म जब एक मूव लेगी तो दूसरी फर्म उसके काउंटर मूव जो उसका एक्शन होगा, दैट इज सीक्वेंशियल. दैट इज व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड अ सीक्वेंशियल गेम. Now coming back to the repeated games and non-repeated games, so far we have considered a non-repeated game. That is specifically we have considered in case of Prisoner's Dilemma a one-shot game. यानी कि हम assume कर रहे हैं कि जो players हैं या firms जो हैं या managers जो यहाँ पे ये game play कर रहे हैं, they are playing it just for once, which is not realistic. क्योंकि हम देख सकते हैं real world में when the two firms are considering their pricing policy or their advertising policy, तो उसमें वो एक ही दफ़ा ये move जो है उनकी नहीं होगी. They'll have several consecutive moves and then the opponent firm will also have several counter consecutive moves. Counter moves जो हैं वो भी consecutive होंगी और बहुत ज़्यादा moves होंगी, so that we have either a repeated game और नॉन रिपीटेड गेम. तो नॉन रिपीटेड गेम्स जो हैं, जैसे कि आप स्क्रीन पर इनकी डेफिनेशंस देख सकते हैं. रिपीटेड गेम इज प्लेड रिपीटेडली ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. देन देयर आर टू types of repeated games, that is finitely repeated games and infinitely repeated games. Finitely repeated games include games that take place over fixed or uncertain period of time, whereas infinitely repeated game occurs over and over again without boundary or limit. So when we look at these definitions, तो हम यहाँ पे we can see that we have two types of games: repeated games, non-repeated games. Again, repeated games, non-repeated games, we have already considered that was also called a one-shot game, where the one firm takes an action, the other firm also take an action simultaneously, and that is a one-time action. For instance, in the classic Prisoner's Dilemma case, हमने देखा that the two prisoners take a strategy, and that is to confess their crime. और इसके बाद हमने जो एग्जाम्पल्स बिजनेस एप्लीकेशंस के लिए हैं उसमें हमने देखा कि प्राइसिंग स्ट्रैटेजी है, एडवर्टाइजिंग स्ट्रैटेजी है. both the firms, they take this action just for once. Now we are going to consider the more realistic case, that is the repeated game. In case of repeated games, as we have seen that there are two types of repeated games. One is finitely repeated game and the other is infinitely repeated games. Finitely repeated games जो हैं, there the firms can play for a certain fixed number of times, or it's possible that the number of times or the number of periods they are going to play this game is uncertain, but still there is an end to the game. Whereas infinitely repeated games is a case where the firms are going to make consecutive moves, several moves, a large number of moves for an indefinite period of time. First, we will illustrate this. Now, we consider an example for finitely repeated games, and for this purpose, we have used an example here. We assume that the two computer giants, that is Dell and Intel, they develop a customer-supplier relationship strategy. Isme, at present, we can see that the computers that are marketed by Dell, they have a logo, Intel Inside, which indicates that they are purchasing, or Intel is supplying them their microprocessor. And this microprocessor, as we know, is a vital component of a computer. They have an agreement. Dell and Intel, they developed this relationship strategy, that is customer-supplier relationship strategy, and they agree. Here, Dell agrees that it will purchase its microprocessors from Intel, so long as Intel do not bring its own Intel brand of computers into the market. यानी कि जो इनमें जो ये एग्रीमेंट है उसमें डेल जो है वो इंटेल से माइक्रोप्रोसेसर उसको परचेज करेगा, लेकिन उसकी जो कंडीशन है वो ये है कि इसमें इंटेल जो है वो अपने ब्रांडेड कंप्यूटर्स जो है वो मार्केट में नहीं लेकर आएगा. So they have this agreement, and as a result of this agreement, we have here on screen you can see the payoff matrix. और अगर वो दोनों जो हैं वो इसको फॉलो करते हैं तो इसमें एक finitely repeated games में we have to introduce another term which is trigger strategy. Trigger strategy is system of behavior that remains the same until another player takes some course of action that gives rise to a different response. Okay, and now look at the payoff metrics for Intel and Dell. If both of them, they stick to their agreement, then in that case, Dell profits are $3 billion per year and Intel profits are $5 billion per year. This you can see in the turquoise cell. Turquoise cell or the right column है, उसका जो bottom cell है, वहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं. If both of them stick to their agreement and they cooperate with each other, in this case, you can see that the payoff for Dell is $3 billion per year and for Intel, it is $5 billion per year. Now, if one of the firms decides to break the agreement, assuming that Intel decides to break the agreement and now it brings in its own brand of computers in the market, what happens? This will give rise to the trigger strategy. इसमें एक एग्रीमेंट था दोनों पार्टीज में, जिसको कि एक पार्टी अगर ब्रेक करेगी, दिस विल गिव राइज टू द ट्रिगर स्ट्रैटेजी. यहाँ पे इंटेल हैज chosen a different path which will result in what? It will result in a different course of action as far as Dell is concerned. तो इससे ये एक ट्रिगर स्ट्रैटेजी जो है वो हो जाएगी कि अगर इंटेल जो है वो इस एग्रीमेंट को ब्रेक करेगा जो कि उनके बीच में हुआ था, तो इसमें फिर डेल जो है इट विल नो लॉन्गर बाय द इंटेल माइक्रो प्रोसेसर्स. तो इसके नतीजे में जो पे ऑफ हैं वो हम देख सकते हैं in the red cell. Here you can see that as a result of breaking this agreement, Dell will suffer a loss of $3 billion and Intel will have profits of which are equal to $8 billion. But we can see that as a result of breaking this agreement, the cost of breaking the agreement is larger. Why? The reason is that this $8 billion profit is a one-period profit. क्योंकि हमने देखा कि जब एग्रीमेंट था तो उस सूरत में जो इंटेल है उसका प्रॉफिट जो था वो $5 बिलियन पर ईयर था और ये कंटिन्यूसली हर ईयर में इसको मिल रहा था. बट नाउ दिस प्रॉफिट ऑफ $8 बिलियन इज ओनली अ वन पीरियड बेनिफिट. व्हाई? द रीजन इज दैट नाउ डेल विल नो लॉन्गर परचेज इट्स माइक्रो प्रोसेसर, so that $5 billion which is it was earning per year will no longer be there. So this is a short-term benefit which will be outweighed by the longer terms losses. Now this is a case of classic example of non-repeated games, जहाँ पे जो games जो play कर रहे थे दोनों players, the two players were Intel and Dell, and they have developed this customer-supplier relationship strategy. But one of them has broken that strategy, और इसके लिए आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे जो number of times the game was played, it is limited. It is not fixed, but it was uncertain. Now, in order to explain the infinitely repeated games, we have another example which you can see on your screens. This is infinitely repeated games occur over and over again without boundary or limit. Here we have taken an example of the two soft drink companies, that is Pepsi-Cola and Coca-Cola. Well, when we look at their payoffs here, we can see that the dominant strategy for both of these firms is to charge a discount price. We can see that the strategy open to the two firms is that either they charge discount price or they charge regular price. तो अगर हम यहाँ पे कोका कोला के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखते हैं तो यहाँ पे हम देखेंगे कि व्हेन पेप्सी कोला चार्ज अ डिस्काउंट प्राइस, payoffs of Coca-Cola are 4-2. That is, its dominant strategy should be discount, to charge discount price. And when Pepsi-Cola decides to charge a regular price, in that case, the payoffs of Coca-Cola are 8 and 6 respectively. That is, when it offer a discount price, its payoff is $8 billion. Whereas when it charges regular price, its payoff is $6 billion. So as I said earlier, that its dominant strategy is to charge or to offer a discount price. Similarly, if we look at this payoff metrics, we can see that for Pepsi-Cola too, the dominant strategy is to offer a discount price. And as a result of this, they will get, as you can see from the cell which is colored turquoise, their payoffs are $4 billion and $2 billion respectively. That is $4 billion for Coca-Cola and $2 billion for PepsiCo. तो इसमें जो लेकिन वो इससे ज़्यादा अर्न कर सकते हैं, जैसे कि पहले भी हमने कहा Nash equilibrium profits are lower. They are less than the profits in case if the two firms decide to collude. That is, if the two firms decide to cooperate to, let's say, charge a regular price, then their payoff is $6 billion and $4 billion respectively for Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. Now, if they can earn a larger profit, why do they select or why do they adopt this strategy of offering discount price? The reason is that if the two firms charge regular price, then this outcome or this equilibrium is not stable. Why? The reason यहाँ पे पहले भी हम आपसे जैसे कह चुके हैं कि there is a difference between the two games which are where the two players are playing a cooperative game and where they are playing a non-cooperative game. If in this case they are playing a non-cooperative game, then obviously their solution should be the cell which is turquoise color. That is, यहाँ पे जो solution होगा that is 4-2, which that is the first number indicates the payoff for Coca-Cola and the second number indicates the payoff of PepsiCo. तो जब वो कॉपरेट नहीं करेंगे तो ये उनके लिए जो इक्विलिब्रियम सॉल्यूशन है दैट इज अ स्टेबल सॉल्यूशन. Otherwise, if they are not cooperating and they choose this other solution which is shown by the magenta color cell where we have 6-4, the outcome is 6-4. That is $6 billion for Coca-Cola and $4 billion for Pepsi-Cola. Obviously, they are making a larger profit if they choose this strategy. That is, both of them decides to charge decides to charge a regular price. लेकिन non-cooperative game है. तो इस केस में क्या होगा कि Coca-Cola will always see that if it switch over its pricing policy from a regular price to a discount price, then it can earn a larger profit. It will earn $8 billion instead of $6 billion. Similarly, Pepsi Cola जो है उसके लिए भी ये इंसेंटिव होगा कि अगर दोनों जो हैं वो रेगुलर प्राइसेस चार्ज कर रहे हैं तो वो चीट करने की कोशिश करेगी पेप्सी कोला, और इसमें उसको नजर आएगा दैट इट कैन जंप इट प्रॉफिट्स फ्रॉम $4 billion to $5 billion if it decides to switch over from regular price policy to discount price. तो इस सूरत में उसका जो प्रॉफिट है वो $4 billion से $5 billion हो जाएगा. So the two firms have an incentive to cheat, whether they have this explicit agreement or implicit agreement. अगर कोई किसी टाइप का agreement है, whether it is implicit or explicit, in that case they are playing a cooperative game. So in that case their strategy should be, उस केस में दोनों जो हैं वो regular price, they can charge a regular price and they can enhance their profits. तो उसमें वो रेगुलर प्राइस जो है वो चार्ज करेंगे और उनका जो प्रॉफिट है, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं मैजेंटा कलर का जो सेल है वहाँ पे प्रॉफिट जो है वो ज़्यादा है. और इस सूरत में इफ़ दे आर दे हैव सम सॉर्ट ऑफ कोऑपरेशन, इफ़ दे आर कोऑपरेटिंग विद ईच अदर एंड दे बोथ डिसाइड टू चार्ज regular price, in that case their profit will be larger as compared to the case where they adopt this strategy of offering discount price. इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? इसमें ये है कि यहाँ पे अगर हम consumers point of view से देखेंगे, then customers will be worse off if both the firms decide to charge a regular price, because the regular price obviously is greater than the डिस्काउंट प्राइस. तो इसमें लेकिन अगर हम इसको दूसरे एंगल से देखें तो कस्टमर्स जो हैं उनको भी एडवांटेज हो सकता है. एंड हाउ इज़ दैट पॉसिबल? द रीज़न इज़ दैट बोथ ऑफ दीज फर्म्स दे आर नोन फॉर देयर क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट and they are spending a huge amount on advertising and also a huge amount on research and development in order to enhance the quality of their product. So if they both decide to charge a regular price and they maintain their quality, this will be in favor of customers. So अगर customers को quality product मिलती है तो ये उनके लिए बेहतर होगा कि अगर दोनों firms जो हैं even if they are charging a higher price. So this is a case of, or this is an example of a game which is played repeatedly, that is over and over, again and again over the years. तो इस तरह से ये example जो है, here we can illustrate both the cooperative game and the non-cooperative game, and also we can see how what will be the outcome when the two firms are playing an infinitely repeated game. For repeated games, the best strategy is which is called tit for tat. As the name indicates, that this strategy or behavior indicates that you have to do what your opponent has done to you recently. That is, suppose you are cooperating, both the firms, if you are firm A and the other is firm B, and both the firms are cooperating, then you will cooperate as long as firm B is cooperating. But if firm B in the next period betrays, then you will also betray. तो इस तरह से ये एक सीक्वेंस में जो है चलेगा दोनों की. We are again considering a repeated game, but we are saying that best policy or best strategy in this case is tit for tat. This behavior can be explained as the repeated games, many consecutive moves and counter moves by each player will be made. And as far as tit for tat strategy is concerned, this is a behavior where you do to your opponent what your opponent has just done to you. For this strategy to be successful, there are certain conditions. And these conditions are, number one is that there is a stable set of players. Number two is small number of players. That is, the number of players is small. In our case, we are assuming most of the times that the number of players is only 2. Then there should be an easy detection of cheating. That is, each firm should be able to detect if the other firm is cheating, and also it should be willing to take an action to punish the other firm. That is, the firm which is cheating, that should be punished. The other condition is that there should be a stable demand and cost conditions, and games are repeated a large and uncertain number of times. That is, they are being played for indefinite period of times. Now, in this case, in order to examine this tit for tat strategy, we have here an example where we have two firms, A and B, and the strategies open to the two firms are that they can charge a low price or they can charge a high price. In this example, we can see that if we look at the payoffs, we can see that the dominant strategy of A is to charge a high price, while the dominant strategy of B is to charge a low price. In this case, if firm A gives a threat to firm B that it is going to charge a low price, firm B will not take this threat seriously, because if we look at the payoffs, और जब हम payoffs को देखते हैं तो यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि अगर firm A जो है that decides to charge a low price, then its payoffs are 2 and 3, that is 2 for the low price and 3 for the high price. So firm B will not take this threat seriously. In order to make it threat credible, firm A जो है वो compromise कर सकती है for its profit. That is, temporarily it can decide to get a reduced profit in order to, make the other firm to charge a high price too or low price too. तो इस condition में हम देख सकते हैं कि जो firm A है, its dominant strategy is to charge a high price, while the dominant strategy of firm B is to charge a low price, जैसे कि हम payoff से देख सकते हैं. अब जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, if firm A threats firm B to that it is going to lower its price in the next period, and firm B, looking at the payoffs of the two markets, will not believe this, and it will not take this threat seriously until firm A makes its threat credible. How will it make its threat credible? That is only possible when it compromises on its profit for the time being. That is, temporarily it will even willing to get a reduced profit. तो इसमें firm A जो है वो एक बार, दो बार, या maybe more than that, it will actually carry out its threat. As a result, it will develop a reputation for a credible threat. That is, whenever it makes a threat, that threat is credible. There is a credibility in its threat. Therefore, the other firm, that is the opponent firm, will take the threat seriously. So in that case, we can see that the firm A will be able to develop a reputation for a credible threat. As a result, firm B will be induced to charge a high price. और इस तरह से हम देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पे फर्म बी अगर हाई प्राइस चार्ज करेगी तो जो हमारे पास फर्म ए भी हाई प्राइस चार्ज कर रही है, फर्म बी भी हाई प्राइस जो है वो चार्ज कर रही है, तो जो इनके पे ऑफ्स हैं वो हैं 5 and 3. That is, firm A payoff is $5 million and that of firm B are $3 million. In this case, one firm will be able to induce the other firm to charge or to adopt a strategy for which is of its liking. जो इसको सूट करेगी, जो फर्म ए को स्ट्रैटेजी सूट करेगी, जो फर्म बी को चूज करना है, और इसके लिए फर्म ए जो है ये टिट फॉर टैट स्ट्रैटेजी जो है उसको अडॉप्ट करेगी. और इसमें जैसे मैंने कहा कि in order to make its threat credible, it has to develop a reputation in which it might temporarily compromise on its profits too. So we have seen here that this is a case of extension of game theory. That is, we are again considering a infinitely repeated game, and in this case for tit for tat strategy, firm A has taken the strategy of threat strategy, and threat strategy उसने पहले उसको threat किया है, और उसके बाद next step जो था, in order to make that threat credible, उसके बाद उसको credible बनाने के लिए it has to develop a reputation, और इस reputation के साथ उसकी एक commitment जो है वो हो जाती है. और इसके लिए हमने आपको जो example दी है इसमें हमने देखा है कि firm A induces firm B to change its strategy. Another example which that we can take for as far as tit for tat strategy is concerned is the example of entry deterrence. Entry deterrence जैसे कि नाम से जाहिर है कि oligopoly in case of oligopoly or in case of monopoly, both of these market structure, it is obviously monopolist and the oligopolist, they are making fairly high profits, attractive profits हैं, so that other firms are attracted, they are attracted to enter the market. और इनकी पॉलिसी क्या होगी, इनकी स्ट्रैटेजी जो मोनोपोलिस्ट है या ओलिगोपोलिस्ट है उसकी स्ट्रैटेजी होगी कि वो इनको मार्केट में एंटर होने से रोके. दैट इज दे हैव टू चूज अ मार्केट डिटरेंस स्ट्रैटेजी. And for this purpose, we are going to consider another example how using game theoretic approach, one firm can deter the entry of the other firm, that is the potential entrant. On the screen, you can see two payoff matrices. One जो top पर है वहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं the two firms, we have firm A and firm B. The strategy open to both of them is they can charge a low price and a high price. Obviously, in this case, when we look at this, in firm B के लिए जो strategy है to enter the market or not to enter the market. Firm A is already an established firm जो कि exist कर रही है, which is existing in the market. It is established and it is an oligopolist, and firm B is a potential entrant. So the strategy open to firm B is to enter the market or not to enter the market. Now, if we look at the four outcomes here, we can see that firm A has a dominant strategy of charging a high price. जैसे कि आप outcome से जो हमने circle किया हुआ है 7-2, if firm A charges a high price, its payoff is 7, and if it charges low price, its profit is 4. And यहाँ पे अगर firm B enter हो जाती है market में, तो if firm A charges a low price, then firm B will make a loss of that is $2 million or $2 billion. जैसे कि minus sign हमने यहाँ पे indicate that firm B will incur losses. If on the other hand firm A charges a high price, that is then its payoff is 7 and payoff of firm B is 2. The other scenario is that if firm B do not enter the market, in that case if firm A charges low price, it will make a profit of $6 million, and if firm B do not enter the market, then by charging a high price, it can make $10 million. So by charging a high price, it can earn higher profit. If firm B enters the market, then in that case, it will earn $7 million. And if it do not enter the market, then in that case it will earn $10 million. तो इसमें हम देख सकते हैं कि high price, obviously an oligopolist or a monopolist, they have a tendency to charge a high price in order to make larger profits. So in this case, the potential entrant, that is firm B, this has to decide whether to enter the market or not to enter the market. Looking at the payoffs of the top payoff metrics, we can see that firm B can enter the market if firm A charges high prices. लेकिन यहाँ पे जैसे हमने अभी देखा, in case of tit for tat strategy, either firm A can adopt the same policy, it can take the same strategy जो अभी हमने discuss की है. That is, it can compromise temporarily its profits. तो उस सूरत में again it will make a threat and it will make a threat to charge a lower price. लेकिन यहाँ पे again हमने जैसे देखा कि firm B will not take its a threat seriously, looking at the payoff metrics. But if firm A actually carries out its threats for many times, then it will develop a reputation for a credible threat, and in that case firm B will be induced to do whatever firm A wants to do it. जैसा कि अभी हमने पहली एग्जाम्पल में देखा, या तो उसके पास ये स्ट्रैटेजी है या दूसरी स्ट्रैटेजी firm A के पास ये है. In order to deter the entry of firm B, it can decide to expand its output, that is expand its production, और इस तरह से excess capacity जो है उसके ज़रिए वो firm B को market में enter होने से रोक सकता है. How? Let's see the second payoff matrix. In this case, we can see that the first entry remains the same, that is 4 minus 2. The second entry, if we look at across rows, it is again the same, that is 6, 0. But when now firm A charges a high price, in this case with the excess capacity, now the profits are lower as we compare it with the top payoff metrics, where we can see that it has profits of 7 with the entry of firm B and 10 when the firm B do not enter the market. Here, when in the second, in the bottom payoff metrics, we can see that when firm A charges high prices, its profits are now lower as compared to the top payoff metrics. पहले वहाँ पे अगर वो high price charge कर रही थी firm A, तो इसका profit 7 था, जबकि अब इसका profit जो है 3 है. और पहले जब firm B जो है वो market में नहीं आती, तो उस सूरत में हमने देखा था कि firm A, if firm A charges high prices, its profit was $10 million, but now it is $8 million. So it can earn lower profit with excess capacity when it decides to charge a high price. In this case, actually the firm A will, if firm A charges low price, तो इसका जो payoff है that remains the same. Why? Because we have said that now it has excess capacity, तो ये high price charge नहीं करेगा क्योंकि उस सूरत में उसकी sales जो हैं वो पहले से कम हो जाएंगी. If it now charges low price, इसकी सेल ज़्यादा हो जाएंगी और ज़ाहिर है कि एक्सेस कैपेसिटी की वजह से कॉस्ट भी पहले से ज़्यादा हुई है. सो बोथ कॉस्ट इन रेवेन्यू विल इंक्रीज. एज अ रिजल्ट द पे ऑफ और द प्रॉफिट अर्न्ड बाय फर्म ए व्हेन इट चार्जेस low price, it remains the same, that is 4. As you can see in both payoff matrices, this remains the same, that is 4. So in this case, as an anticipation of the entrance of the other market, firm A has adopted this strategy to expand its production. यहाँ पे excess capacity जो है वो उसने create की है और इस excess capacity की वजह से now it can charge a lower price and its payoff will remain the same. So actually here it will charge a lower price. As a result, what will happen that जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि इसकी कॉस्ट भी इंक्रीज कर जाएगी क्योंकि इसने एक्सेस कैपेसिटी जो है वो प्रोड्यूस की है, लेकिन इसके रेवेन्यू जो है वो भी बढ़ जाएंगे. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज नाउ चार्जिंग अ लोअर प्राइस, सो ऑब्वियसली इट्स रेवेन्यू, इट्स सेल विल इंक्रीज एंड इट्स रेवेन्यू विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज, सो दैट द प्रॉफिट रिमेन्स अनचेंज्ड when it charge a lower price. Or in this case, we can see that now if it makes a threat of charging a lower price and it actually charge a lower price, in that case, it will now successfully will be able to stop market B to enter the market. That is, it has successfully adopted this strategy of deterring the entry of the other firm, that is the opponent firm, and it has successfully, it has been successful to stop the entry of the opponent market. Because if now firm B enters the market and firm A is charging lower prices, firm A payoff or profit will remain the same. So firm A can offer, it can charge a lower price. But if firm B decides to enter the market, it has to suffer a loss of $2 million, which is indicated by -2 in the payoff matrix. So in this case, this is how the two firms we have seen here, and if firm A, which is the existing firm or the firm which is already established in the market, this will stop the other market which is the potential entrant. It will stop the other firm to enter the market by choosing this strategy of tit for tat. This tit for tat strategy that is used for the repeated games, this can also be applied in a situation where we can consider an international situation. That is, now the players are not the firms, they are the countries, different countries or different region. For this purpose, we have here selected an example where the two firms, they are replaced by the two countries or two regions, that is the USA and the European countries. Because here we have taken the example of Boeing versus Airbus Industries. अब ये दोनों बहुत ह्यूज जो हैं एयरक्राफ्ट इंडस्ट्रीज हैं. Boeing is the commercial aircraft of USA, while Airbus is a commercial aircraft of the European countries, France, UK, Germany and Spain. इनका जो joint production है Airbus, और इनका real world में बहुत ज़्यादा competition है. यहाँ पे जो हमने example ली है, इस payoff में हमने assume किया है that since the cost of producing an aircraft is very huge, if both of these aircraft companies, they are in the market, in that case, that is both are producing, both Boeing and Airbus are in the market, in that case they will make a loss of $10 million per year. If on the other hand only one of them is in the market, let's say Boeing is in the market, then it will make a huge profit of $100 million, while the other firm will not be able to produce, so that it will earn only zero profit. If on the other hand Airbus is in the market, and then Airbus can make $100 million profit per year, and Boeing cannot produce in that case. Or the fourth outcome which we can see is that both of them, both Boeing and Airbus, they are not producing at all, and they will make only zero profit in that case, obviously. तो इसमें जो है यहाँ पे भी हमने जो tit for tat strategy है, we are going to explain it now in an international scenario. Here, instead of players or firms, we have two countries or two regions. Actually, we have here two regions, that is European region, where we have 4 countries which are producing Airbus, and on the other side we have USA. And its product is Boeing. Now, if we assume that somehow Boeing makes the first move, that is, अभी हम assume कर रहे हैं, or this is just an assumption, and we are assuming that Boeing enters the market first. Due to one reason or the other, Boeing is able to enter the market first. As a result, Boeing will make huge profits of $100 million per year, while Airbus cannot produce in that case. Now, if Boeing enters the market somehow first, that is, it has an advantage of the first mover, which we have discussed in our previous oligopoly lectures, that the firm which comes first or which takes the first move, it has an advantage of the first mover. So if due to one reason or the other, Boeing enters the market first and it starts producing its aircraft, then it will earn a huge profit of $100 million per year, while in that case, that is the other region, or Airbus cannot enter the industry, और इसमें फिर जो profit है वो सिर्फ Boeing जो है वो produce कर रहा है, जबकि Airbus जो है वो produce नहीं कर सकती. If in this scenario the other company, that is Airbus, decides to enter the market, in that case, both of them will they will incur losses of $10 million each, which we have seen that they will incur losses in that case if both of them are in the market. So ये हमने assumption है, obviously real world में इस तरह से नहीं है, दोनों जो हैं वो market में हैं and both of them are making profits and they have a fierce competition. But anyway, in this payoff matrix, we are assuming that if both of them enters the market, then they incur a loss of $10 million each per year. Okay, so what happens that if Airbus, they European region, they decides to give a subsidy to Airbus, a subsidy of, let's say, $15 million per year, so that they converts this loss of $10 million into a profit of $5 million. How? 15, अगर उनको, if they give a subsidy to Airbus which is equal to $15 million, then subtracting that loss which it was incurring, that is $10 million, this is converted into a profit that is plus $5 million. So इस सब्सिडी की वजह से ये कि अगर दोनों प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं तो हमने ये कहा है कि दोनों को लॉसेस होंगे $10 million की. बट इफ नाउ द यूरोपियन रीजन डिसाइड्स टू गिव अ सब्सिडी टू इट्स एयरक्राफ्ट प्रोड्यूसिंग कंपनी, दैट इज एयरबस, तो उसमें फिर उसको $5 million का जो है प्रॉफिट होगा, जबकि बोइंग विल सफर दिस, इट विल इनकर अ लॉस ऑफ $10 million. So what will happen that Boeing has to leave the market in that case, and obviously Airbus will be able to produce, and Boeing will not be able to produce. And in that case, obviously Airbus will make a profit of $100 million per year, and Boeing as a result will leave the market. लेकिन इसमें जैसे मैंने पहले कहा कि यहाँ पे this is an example of tit for tat strategy in the international scenario. Here it is quite possible that USA also decides to give a subsidy to Boeing. But as we know that this will start a trade war among the two regions, that is USA and European countries, कि अगर European countries ने subsidy दी है अपनी जो प्रोडक्ट है उसको बूस्ट करने के लिए, तो इस तरह से यूएसए जो है इट कैन रिटेलिएट एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दिस रिटेलिएशन. ट्रेड वॉर जो है, एक ट्रेड वॉर शुरू हो जाएगी और उसमें एक रीजन जो है वो सब्सिडी दे रहा है तो दूसरा भी सब्सिडी देगा, वो उससे ज़्यादा देगा, और इस तरह से एक जो है ट्रेड वॉर शुरू हो जाएगी, जो कि हम इंटरनेशनल सिनेरियो में जब देखते हैं तो गिविंग अ सब्सिडी दैट इज़ नॉट डिज़ायरेबल, और फ्री ट्रेड जो है दैट इज़ व्हाट इज़ desirable in case of international market. But this was just an example here, and we have here considered a scenario where if the two of these companies, that is both Boeing and Airbus, they are producing, they will incur losses, and if one of them is in the market, it will earn a huge profit. And then we have considered the scenario of where European countries, they have subsidized the Airbus, which is equal to $15 million. As a result, जिसके रिजल्ट में हमने देखा कि जो उसका लॉस था $10 million का, now it will be transformed into a $5 million profit. But as a result, as we have already said, it's quite possible that USA retaliate, and this will also USA might also decide to give a subsidy to Boeing. So इस तरह से टिट फॉर टैट इस स्ट्रैटेजी की वजह से जो है इसका हो सकता है कि यहाँ पे सब्सिडी वॉर जो है, ट्रेड वॉर, इसकी इंडस्ट्रियल पॉलिसी जो है उसमें एक फुल फ्लैज वॉर शुरू हो जाए. So we have seen here that in order to explain the theory of oligopoly, we have taken this game theoretic approach, and here we have considered different types of games, that is the Prisoner's Dilemma game, then we have considered Nash equilibrium. We have also considered different types of games: zero-sum game, non-zero-sum game, sequential game, simultaneous game, and in the end we have also described what is meant by cooperative game, non-cooperative game, and then lastly we have seen that there are different types of game as far as time is concerned, that is the number of moves and counter moves is concerned, and we have explained it with the help of repeated games and non-repeated games. And then also we have considered two types of repeated games, that is infinitely repeated game and finitely repeated game. With that, we come to an end of today's lecture. Thank you. Da Hafiz.